I enrolled in the SAT summer camp and also the gateway package for college. There was a lot of help with organizing and scheduling, and also keeping track of like when due dates were, and also editing essays. I believe the main thing for me was like organizing what to do and when, and etc. I know that I tend to like delay when I'm doing things. There's a lot of things like happening sometimes in my head, and it's nice to just have someone to help like keep track of like what needs to get done and like by when, etc. It was basically us scheduling when to do things. It's like, okay, so these are your deadlines. These are sort of things you need to do, and yeah, we were just talking about the different types of essays, like just looking at type of prompts and like what to and just like generating like ideas and stuff. Mainly just like, what was it? Just reviewing like essays that I've written and just like going over and seeing like, oh, do you think like, what was it? Oh, like, yeah, mainly just like, so the initial days, the initial meetings after that first meeting were like brainstorming, making sure like, you know, like what's required, the scheduling, and also like basically like filling out all these forms, etc. Just making sure like it was like up to date and accurate, etc. Making sure everything was like on time, up to date, and before like a period, so that there could be additional revision, and also because there were like hidden like details like in the applications and like different little subsections that I don't know if I could keep track of all of them, but I had like with the help it was a lot easier. One, okay, the people here are really nice and they're really understanding, and two, they're really organized and they understand exactly what they're doing, and they have a game plan. And three, when like taking classes here, it was like, I don't know, like you couldn't ask, like you could always ask a question and they would never consider it like it's just like a silly question or something. I think it was a 2000.
And what sort of prep did you do?
So I went to the classes. I also had a prep book. 2210. Stanford, University of Texas, and MIT. Stanford and UT. So I actually talked to the admissions officer was like talking to all of us about our applications, and I think so he actually never referenced my comment essay, but he referenced the supplements. And I'm talking about the Stanford admission officer. I'll talk about what the other person said later. But so the Stanford admission officer was talking about my sorry. He particularly quoted my what I talked about, like my letter to my roommate, what I care about, and also my additional information section, which wasn't like normally people don't actually write like an essay in there, like for things that supplement. But I just since I never I didn't really represent computer science in my Common App or in my supplements, I needed a place where I could represent my interests. So that was the big section where I actually talked about computer science, and that's where that's where most of the quotes he included in his letters and stuff came from. So he was really interested in that. So Calvin Lin, who was the director of the computer science program at UT, so I got accepted to Turing and Dean's Scholars, and so he talked about also my additional information section. But I mean, I feel like that might have been because I wrote it and there was no revisions at all, and I just put it in there. What I had done in high school and middle school, I was talking about all the individual languages I knew, the programming languages, and what I had done with those, and what I plan on doing with them, and also what I intend on pursuing afterwards, after college. Stanford.
Do you know what you're going to major in yet?
Computer science. I'm going to attend at least. I'm planning on getting a master's, but afterwards I don't know whether to continue in research or to go into industry, because I believe a lot of people go into industry because there's a lot of money there. But if I want to further, I don't know, the depth of what do we call it, how do I say it, further the application of computer science in fields, then I'll go for research. But it just depends on that time and what I feel like, if I like research or not in college. Science Olympiad, computer science competitions, and I think tutoring, but that was about it. Leadership, so I was the leader of the guitar performance group, but for the other clubs I was members. And so that was one thing also, during the speech, the Dean of Admission at Stanford, during his introductory speech, he mentioned that a lot of us were members like in clubs, etc., and how he considered that also as a form of like leadership in a way, because we also participated in many events or something. So it's not necessarily that, like, or at least for him, like what he said, he was saying that like leadership is just like taking an active role in the community, but like, I guess that could be different for different colleges. Yeah, I did the high school hacking competitions, and so they're like, there was a major one like 2 years ago, and after that there were like tinier ones. And so they're the competitions in which like how do you say it? Like there's like they have encrypted messages, they have systems in which they generate with like vulnerabilities so that you're supposed to exploit them, and also like websites, programs, and servers. So it's like they have a whole bunch of things where you're trying to exploit the services in order to gain access to like a flag, and the flag is what you enter in order to get points. And so it's like each team has like all these sets of problems, and they're trying to solve as many as they can, and so you should go up and up on the scoreboard. Yeah. I really didn't feel like, I mean, where I went to school, there was nothing really to provide like, what do we call it, like, and it's like, I didn't feel any different from anyone else, so I just did the things I wanted to do.
So it just kept your personal interest in that? So
in 8th grade, my teacher was like, there was this person, and, there was 2 people. It was me and my friend, I don't want to mention his name, but so she said like, either one of you will be valedictorian or something, and so I've just been competing with him for like for these past 4 years. So use like everything that you can use. Like, make sure you use that additional information section. That's like 650 words. That's pretty useful. And don't be afraid to like do something like, what do you call it? Like, I guess like experimental or something. Like, don't be afraid to like write about that something that really matters to you because you think like maybe it won't be interesting or whatever. Just like put whatever is very like you think is interesting, and just like write to your heart consent about that. Because it's really not it's not the college that leads to success, but it's the person who's going to that college that's really going to make a difference later. I think it really helped with the organizing and getting ideas down, because brainstorming is a really hard type of thing, and so if you can just talk to someone to bounce ideas off of, then I guess that's the way it helped with like, I guess, presenting myself as I just bounced ideas back and forth and saw what I really knew. But like, for example, like there were some ideas I thought like, oh, maybe that would be a good idea to write an essay about, but I really had nothing to write about it. And so bouncing back ideas back and forth, you could realize like what you really are are interested, like what you can really write about. I guess it's like it forces you to like look back upon the many years that you might not remember and try to provide a culminative essay that basically you're trying to represent your whole entire 4 years, or maybe even more, inside of this couple of essays. And so it was really helpful in just like, yeah, brainstorming and also keeping things organized. I believe, so there was the extracurricular, and there was I believe an awards section, and supplements. I believe in one of the supplements it asked about what inspired your intellectual curiosity or something. And so that's where I was able to actually express, why I was interested in computer science. But it was only a supplement, so with that short amount of words, I really couldn't express all of that. But in my comment essay, because although the topics are pretty broad, I felt like there was no section in which no question I could really express directly my interest in computer science. So that's why I took advantage of the additional information section. But extracurriculars, I mean, you can list, I listed like the competitions I did and the organizations I participated in, but there's nothing where I can really explain them in depth besides like an essay. I noticed how like a lot of people like say like, oh, I don't want to apply for that college because I don't want to, or like because I don't think I'll get in, or it's like, oh, even if I don't know, it's like if you have the opportunity to apply and you want to go there, just like who's gonna stop you from trying out? And I mean, there's always a chance, and I mean, I don't know, just like always. Okay, how to say it? Whenever there's if you want to do something, and if there's always a chance, then might as well just try it out. Because if you'll always fail if you never try, but if you try, there's a chance that you can succeed. And so just try everything.